You see it, right? I said private. Concurrent viewers. Is that me? This is so wild. Look, this is how people do it. I'm gonna test something. Hey, I'm testing. First live stream. Wow. So I think what we can do, come on over here so the microphone can hear you. Okay, so, well, I said okay. I'm making this so. I think why did I just scare myself? I just looked at the chat and was like, oh, who's on here? This is supposed to be private.
It was you.
It was me, see? Look. Okay. Oh, no. Do something every time I do it. Come over here.
I don't even notice it.
Okay, so the topic is I have a thing with, okay. I always say, okay. So I have to stop that. I almost did it just now. I have to consciously think of it. What I was going to say, that just took so much of me to not say. Okay. What I was going to say is that I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, you need to get in closer because of the microphone.
It's a good microphone.
No, but we don't know how to work it, and I don't think it it's up here. That's why I keep pointing. I don't think that it can pull close. What I was going to say is that even though this is private, that maybe if we talk about something, we can pull a couple of pieces out. We should probably move the new iMac Pro out, or you think it's fine?
It's good. Missy is.
We need to have like looking good, feeling good, so we're happy about it. What I wanted to talk about, so what I was saying about that guy on Twitter, and he was saying that you can help with happiness or like life coaching because of things that he's been through. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, should we look into the lens? I love how Missy she's just giving a show. She's giving a cleaning show. No, don't let her.
Something else.
But should we look at the lens or like should we talk to I think it's actually potentially distracting when we can see ourselves.
Mm-mm.
You like it, of course.
No, because then I look like. Then I'm gonna look weird.
I wonder. I should push this back, but I have to fix the desk. So the first thing I was gonna say in terms of like helping people with like happiness or coaching or etc. is gratitude. That, and maybe does Tony Robbins say this too? If you change, yeah, I think he might. Like he's like if there's one thing that you can change in your life right now, which of course there's like 5,000 tools that you can use to harness, joy and happiness and growth. But if there was one tool, I think he does mention to, switch our expectations with gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the example that I've used before with the kids and the cookies? Now, can you not concentrate as much on your beautiful face?
I wasn't. I just reading.
Okay, so anyway, I did it. I said, okay. That's gonna be our new t-shirt. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it because it's so hard for me not to do it that it's painful. It distracts me completely. So, do you remember the example of the cookie?
Mm-mm.
Or okay, let me start off with this. Do you believe that that's one of the first things, if not the first thing, that people, maybe teens or adults or anyone, can change in their lives? Why?
Sounds
Hmm?
sounds good. Sounds like a good motto since most people can forget about what they have and how privileged they are. So if you are treating your expectations with gratitude, then you might be able to recognize the nice things that you have and be more happy.
Yes. Good answer. And I will say, like, okay, a couple things that I was thinking, because maybe actually we could turn this into, we could, what do you call the big fancy word when you take something from say extract something late, extrapolate, take from. Maybe we can take the audio if this audio ends up being good, um, from this, but. So a couple of things. One, I think one of the first things that I realized like the last few years was that it's really easy to get wrapped into like so many things that are going bad, you know? And I thought I was always somebody that, did you always think I was somebody that was grateful? But when looking back on it the last couple years, like I've definitely grown so much this last year, but in the 2 or 3 years before that, like I don't think I was as grateful. Do you? Because like I was so sad and going through so many things. I mean, I was trying to battle the sadness and stuff, but I was so distraught over so much that was going on. Like you saw when that battle, right? Like was that hard? Like did you feel like um I was trying to keep my energy up and I was trying to be happy or trying to learn the tools? Like do you remember how insane I was going with like listening to Tony Robbins and all of the audiobooks and like all those chants and everything that I was doing because I felt such an amazing amount of like stress and overwhelm and everything? Or so did you think I was like giving into all of that stress, or did you think you could tell or see that I was like going back and forth and I was trying?
I think there is like, yeah, you were trying, but also like trying too hard kind of gives into it. Like, I don't know, but I guess sometimes, even though I only have a little bit, I only have small stress things that happen to me. But sometimes just trying to be, like, just trying to fix it or just trying to be happy while it's happening doesn't really work. So sometimes I have to step back and actually simplify it and just be like, well, is it really that big of a deal for me to just put this amount of energy into fixing it or trying to be happy during it or anything about it? Is it really worth all the attention I'm putting? And because it makes it everything less intense. If you simplify it and put it into a bigger picture, then it won't be the focus of everything.
And so you have to actually actively think about it. Like you can you give me an example? So it's like, you know, like with school, like or, a project or a task or something like that, and like it starts to feel stressful, and then you just work through, like you actually think about it and start to work through your emotions and realize, okay, the bigger picture of things is not whatever, and then you just kind of push forward and keep working on it, or it's pretty good. Have you always been able to do that, or you think some of the
No.
tools?
I think there was like one time where I was doing something, some project or whatever, and I guess it was like really, really stressful to me. And then, or I had to do all these things on a list, and I was like, oh my god, I'm about to eat this list because I'm so mad. And I was really, really stressed about it. And at first, I was trying to ignore it, and that took a lot of energy. And then I was trying to rush through it, and then I would get frustrated because it wasn't going well because I was rushing. So then that took a lot of energy too. And then I just sat back and I was like, okay, but what do I actually have to do? I was like, I have to read this, type this, and then it's done. That's all I really have to do.
And how did you get those tools? Was it like some of the Tony Robbins stuff,
That was
or
a long
just
time
it
ago.
was a long time ago?
That's why I never stress about school anymore.
No, it is really smart and so many teens, I mean, the parents too. I mean, everyone is so overwhelmed and stressed and things, and that's why like I'm so big into the Tony Robbins stuff is because, it's like I knew a couple years ago that do you remember how I was crying so much, but I was crying because I was crying? Do you remember I used to tell you stories about that? I would tell you about, that I like was going through it, and that I was trying not to be sad, trying not to like I was working through, the stuff that I was going through. And then I would like go out, come out of the Canterbury house, right? And someone would see me, and I'd be trying to be strong to pretend, not pretend that nothing was wrong, but I didn't want to put my things on them, right? So are you listening?
Yes.
So the neighbor would come up and they'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I couldn't hold it in because I was going through so much and I didn't know how to handle everything. And I would literally just burst into tears, remember? And then I felt so bad because I knew I was crying. I knew I was so upset and that like I was having such a hard time. And I knew in my hearts of hearts that I was like disappointed because I felt like, Jamie, what you're going through is I'm not saying that it's not hard, but there are so many things that there's so much other stuff in everybody else's lives that are so much harder, that I felt like, okay, that I just knew like that what I was letting get to me was nothing. And then so this neighbor would come over. I'll give you an example. Like a neighbor would come over and they would, hey, how you doing? And I couldn't help it, so I would burst into tears. And then I could tell they felt bad. They wanted to console me. They were like, "Oh my gosh, it's okay," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "It's okay. I'm figuring it out. I'm doing the best I can." Then and you could just tell they were trying to comfort me. And a lot of times that person was going through something much harder than what I was going through. Because obviously what I was going through was all very, I don't know what you call it, first world problems, like, financial issues and all these other stuff. But the person that, like, as an example, one of the neighbors was, she was trying to console me, and she was coming back, like, as an example, like from the doctor's appointment, because she had been, going through something like health wise, like that was like pretty substantial. And and maybe like so many other things have been going on in her life, but she wasn't talking about that. She was just busy like trying to make me feel better, and that was so sad to me. Like I felt so bad. I felt so bad. I felt so bad, but I did not like it about myself so much. Like I was so, even when I was talking to her, I was like trying to hold back the tears, much like I am now. But I was like so upset about it because I was like, oh my gosh, Jamie, why? And I didn't want it. And I think that's why, like, I kept to myself so much, like the 2 years prior, because I couldn't figure out how to um, get myself out of it. And I knew in my hearts of hearts that, like, Jamie, it's not a big deal. Like, you'll figure it out just like you figured so many other things out. But it felt so hard. It felt so hard on me.
Did you ever like sit down and think like, let me be sad, let me just like mourn what's going on right now? Or did you always try to hold it?
Oh no, I always let it out too, as you
But
know.
like, did you ever just have? Cause sometimes, like, remember, like when I failed English,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I literally had to take a shower and be like, let me just mourn this. Like, let me be disappointed in myself. I just had to like come into contact with every single emotion that I felt about it, and I had to just come to it and like touch it and feel it and know why I was feeling that way. And then after I got out the shower, I was like, well, it's not even that big. Like whatever, I'll pass anyway. But like in the moment, like the whole day, I was like, I'm gonna be sad about this for so long. And I got in the shower and I was like, okay, like why am I so sad? Like I'm disappointed in myself. I'm frustrated about this frustrated about that, upset about this, upset about this. It could affect me this way, it could affect me that way. And I just kept bringing every single bad thing that I felt, and I kept just touching it, and kept bringing it and bringing it. And every single option I had, what is bad about this? This is bad about this. This is bad about this. This is bad about this. But because I mean, I failed the class for 1 quarter, which isn't that. It's not like a financial thing, but just to change, just to be able to keep going in the class and not thinking that it was over. And I was like, oh, colleges are gonna see this for the rest of my life. My dad is gonna see this. Everybody's gonna see this. I'm gonna have to keep seeing it. My teacher's gonna know. And then after my shower, I was like, whatever. Like I give up. Like I understand what happened, but at this, like, I don't care anymore. Like it's whatever. I need to move on because at this point I know what's so bad about it, and I can't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I just figured it. And then after I thought about everything that was bad, the only thing that I could think about was the good, was what I could do to move on. And I just thought about every single thing that was bad about it. And then after that, there was nothing else bad to think about it. So then I was like, well, you know what? I could still pass the class.
Yeah.
Because before that, I was thinking I could fail English. I could fail ninth grade. I could fail the rest of high school. I could not get into college. I could not get a job. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess there's nothing else bad about it. I guess I thought of every terrible, absolutely horrible thing about it. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll still pass the class. And I guess if I work really hard, I can still pass. And yeah, it's bad, but whatever. I know how bad it is now, at least.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really good. And I'm a big believer of like letting the emotions come strong. Like just because you have to let it out. And I think actually Tony Robbins talks about that too. It's like don't dismiss, because I think one that you're right, one of the worst things that people can do is feel something and just go "Ugh," and just like suppress it inside or just not deal with it at all. And that to me, that's the worst kind, because you don't deal with it, you don't look at it. And so I think he always says, don't, he's not about like happiness or like there's no weeds in the garden, there's no it's about like no, pointing it out, like there's weeds right there, there's weeds right here, like being accepting and understanding, and seeing it for what it is, but not worse than what it is. So you didn't see worse, so you didn't go down that rabbit hole of like I can feel English and my whole life is over and blah, you know what I mean, where
Well,
you're
even if I did, if just to know like how bad it is, it just gave me comfort. Instead of thinking, well, whatever, I failed, and then just thinking the whole time, am I gonna pass? Is this? Did I really screw it up? Is it over? Instead of being like, okay, well, there's a chance I can fail this class, but then I could move on from that and think, well, I know what I need to do in order to not have that happen.
yeah. Yeah, and so to answer your question on my story, yes, I did. And I had to do it so many times, because to me it was so, to me, the last couple of years, or what had, kind of transpired over the last few years was pretty significant. So it took a lot. It was a lot of like letting the emotions come out many times and then moving on past it and working towards trying. And I mean, it was like it was a lot, it was a lot to go through, but I'm grateful for it, of course. And for sure, I sound like a Tony Robbins commercial, but yeah, for sure, all of those Tony Robbins, Marie Kondo, Jensen Shero, all those that I listened to, Connie, like everything helped me. I had to live and breathe it for sure. Orange Theory, exercising and stuff, which I'm gonna get back to now, but all of that really helped. So actually, just to kind of circle back to the gratitude. So one of the things, so again, like one of the reasons that I was so sad or that was so difficult about, the last couple of years when I was going through it, was that I was actually sad that I was sad. I could, I knew, I didn't know what was wrong, but I could tell that I was disappointed or upset about the fact that it was so hard on me. And I mean, so let's look at it. So we were living in probably one of the best, if not one of the best, corner apartments with glass windows on all sides in a beautiful neighborhood. Really, we've seen so many places in that area, and it was one of the most beautiful spots. At the time, I had just gotten, kind of that, we had just gotten that brand new, Miata hardtop, which is not like a huge deal, but it was a fun, cool car, right? Brand new, whatever. Um, I was, uh, able to like work on myself, on a lot of levels and take you to school and stuff. I wasn't working at that time, 7 to 7 at night, every day, all day job. I had, you know what I mean? We could go and play tennis if we wanted to at that time. I mean, of course, this is when everything dropped and there was all kinds of other issues and things that were going on, issues or problems, whatever that was going on. But no one, or I wouldn't have understood that like every day in that situation, I knew like my happiness level during that time was nil. Like it was so small, and I just could not, it was so hard to get over it. And so like imagine, like that's why I always tell you, I'm like, if you're in like the greatest place ever and you have like a really, a nice vehicle, or you have this, or you have a nice phone and blah blah blah, and you're like not able to be joyful and happy every day, like what's the, you know what I mean? That's a problem. And it's because that means that there's no gratitude. So, but one of the most important things about gratitude is this. And so the cookie example. So I always like to relate things, back to like kids, because we always view kids or things that are dealing with kids differently than we do like adults. So if you have, so this was the example or story that I was, that I'd shared with you probably before, was that if you're someone, let's say you have like a lot of cookies, like you baked a lot of cookies and you're like wanting to share cookies, right? So you got these cookies. If kid A is, and you're out there, you find two kids, I can tell that you're not freaking paying attention. No, but you're like, when we go back to play this over. You're so annoying. Okay. You're distracting when you like come off of it and you're like literally in la la land. Like I can't even get back into. I could tell you were.
How? The camera thing shut off, and that's when I looked.
No, this whole time you're like playing with your hair. You're really
my
annoying.
head hurts. I'm trying to take my hair out.
Okay, Natalie. Okay, listen. Please don't BS me on camera. Like seriously. Like I can tell when you're not actually engaged in it.
I'm listening.
No, you need to do more than listen. You need to be like engaged, because now we're like on this thing, and like it's now. If you do that, I promise you.
I'm being engaged.
Stop! Get off me. Okay. So anyway, fuck. Now I have to get back to. Okay, with the cookies. Damn it! Now I can't even get back to the thing.
Kid, you bake a bunch of
You have a bunch of cookies, and you have like two kids that you find. You're so excited. You've got the cookies. Okay, so now imagine you being universe or God or whatever it is that you believe in, and you're, or the world or life or whatever, and you're the one with the cookies. I got beautiful. I got these cookies. I'm gonna hand it out. And kid A is over there like, yeah, cookies. Give me that cookie, and you're about time you gave me that cookie. Like I've been going through so much and blah 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 blah, and like eats the cookie and it's like, and it's like, yeah, I want more, more. Give me more cookies. And kid B, you give the cookie and they're like, they take the cookie, they're so grateful. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, I love this cookie. And, and there's some other things going on in, life that's helping me grow, with problems. But I love this cookie. Thank you for the cookie. Would love another cookie, but also if I can't have another cookie, I'm grateful for it. And then kid A again is over there like, hello, like I have all these other things. Like, I want more cookies. Like, give me the more, like, which kid are you, if you have another cookie to give, which one are you going to give it to?
Grateful.
No, No, but really, like, can you imagine
Yeah.
like a kid like that's literally
Because
like,
you don't want to reward, you don't want to give something to someone who's not grateful because they're not going to understand it, and you don't want to reward that.
Ig- that was good, exactly. So I think that, and they always say this, and it always annoys, it doesn't always, it sometimes annoys people that are still learning a lot of stuff, me included, that when people are like that, when people who have it, who essentially seem like they have it really good, are like, oh, you just need to be more grateful, and you'll get it, because it's easy to get wrapped into like, oh, it's easy for you to say, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have it like I do. You don't understand all the, you know what I mean? Don't you? Like, people can get wrapped in, I can get wrapped into that, Like, I've been working so hard, blah, 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 whatever. But it's like, just stop. Everyone's been going through so much. Everyone has so many things that they're dealing with. So everyone's got bills galore. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Everyone, like, you're not, I'm no different. You're no different. In fact, there's a good chance that here, if we're here in America or on some level, you have it a little bit better than one other person, 100 other people, 20,000 other people, you know? And I'm not saying that's all of the cases, because I know there's a lot of people who grow up in situations, including me, that have, it's all perspective, right? So, but gratitude, so, and the thing about it is with gratitude, and I'm kind of thinking this out loud, is that it can't hurt. So when there's something that's going on that maybe somebody is like skeptical about it, like, you know, if there's something that you can try to implement or try to change or try to figure out that definitely can't hurt, then go ahead and just try it, because you can't do any damage. Only good can come from it, right? So gratitude, or having more gratitude, or practicing gratitude, or thinking, or giving it a moment, you know, for anything, it certainly cannot hurt. Like, nobody could walk around and be like, I am having a really bad day. That whole gratitude stuff, if I try that right now, that's probably gonna hurt me. That's probably gonna damage my day. Like, it's probably not much chance of that. So if you're having a bad day, you're having a bad moment, you're having a bad whatever, you can likely take at least a moment to say, okay, what can I be grateful for? So even, for me, or someone that's like not feeling well, especially physically, it's very hard when you're not physically feeling well, you know, um, to even be a gratitude to have like the breath that you're taking, or the moment to get better, or an opportunity to heal, or your cat or your daughter, who, I can have another moment where I can point out when she's not engaged. And just kidding, because you're engaged now. But anyhow, so that's our spill for gratitude. What do you think? Anything else?
Maybe maybe to make another metaphor, simile, like, so just because I like horses, but like, mom, you know how I always get mad at Dakota when she like almost bites my finger when she takes an apple? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's, yeah. Like, or back to the kid thing. I was just thinking that one of the other reasons that you wouldn't give the other kid another cookie is because you know they're not going to enjoy it. You don't want to reward that behavior. But the another reason I thought of was that you, in hopes of not giving them the cookie, you hope you hope to teach them gratitude.
That's true too.
I was just
That's
thinking,
true
I just realized
too.
that's the main goal of not giving someone who's greedy something else, is that you you hope that they can see. You hope that they can learn for themselves gratitude. Not just to not reward them, or not just to punish them, or not just to whatever the first thing I said, not to just because they won't enjoy it, but you have to hope that they can teach them self gratitude.
Yeah, so there's, yeah. So there's at least there's also giving the opportunity for growth. Where yeah, it's like not spoiling kids, right? So if you kept giving that kid A all the cookies, even though they had that bad attitude, I said give me more, and then like you just kept doing it. Where can they learn? Where can they get better? Where can they appreciate? Because they never had it without cookies.
And even if you tell them you're not going to enjoy it or I don't want to reward that behavior, the only reason you actually don't want to give it to them is because you want them to realize it. Not by necessarily negative reinforcement, but just by giving them some, just because they can think about it. And then they can look to another kid who has the same amount as them or less than them or more than them and see how it's different from how they feel. Because if they can understand it by themselves, then you don't have to teach it again.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, so there, let's say that there's probably a limited amount of cookies, or there could be, right? At that moment, maybe there's like cookies all over that. But if you did only have that amount, every time we give to someone or to a kid that doesn't appreciate it and is not getting the lessons and is not doing all this, how many more cookies are we taking away from all the other kids that would be so grateful and that would learn so many positive things by having received something like that? So, you know, so if we relate that back to, if any of us feel like we have been good-hearted, that we're hardworking, that blah 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 blah, whatever, and we are still, we still haven't felt, or we haven't gotten ourselves into a position. I don't even know what you call it. We for whatever reason, there's still a struggle, or we feel like there's still a struggle. Maybe just being or practicing or having more and more gratitude in our everyday lives. If the universe, God, whoever, what people believe in, sees that and goes, you know what? I'm putting this person through some stuff right now. I'm testing them, or they're being tested, or there's problems or whatever. But, there's gratitude shining from this person, this energy. They're ready, because again, like if I am able to film or test streaming and I have this camera, and obviously, we were able to get a loan for the new computer, which I don't know why is back there, but we have, we're, you know, if I, even though I'm still going through a bunch of stuff, like if I say or understand or remember or practice, I am grateful, thank you. I will figure out all these other things that I need to in my life, but I just continue to practice gratitude, maybe it really is true. The universe and God and all these other things that we believe in will say, this person is ready, and it's gonna, but the only way they can really do that is to test it. You know what I mean? So, like, if I had absolutely nothing to worry about, no problems, no financial concerns, no things that I have to really, really consider right now, how would we really know that I'm ready, that I'm super grateful? Probably not, right? Because I'd just be over here living my best life. I'd be over, like,
Maybe not. Maybe you would still be unhappy.
I could either worse, be be unhappy, or two, not.
Because isn't this, in a way, our best life as compared to another life? This could be all we were hoping for. And then in an alternate universe, they're like, oh, what if we got to live in the harbor, but we were still unhappy? And then we're hearing like, well, what if we were living our best life? But it's all relative.
It is. And we are. Like, the truth of the matter is, a lot of people, not everyone, because I know everyone's going through stuff. I always want to be sensitive of that. But there's a lot of people, and I think this is why I got into it a few years ago, that I felt like a lot of people, we are in our best lives, right? We have devices that can do the most insane things. We have, apps and games. We have an extraordinary amount of abundance. It's actually we're in overdrive with abundance. There's so much. We don't even know what to do with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally in our phone. If you have a phone, you have a cell phone, and you have these free apps, it is literally the equivalent of somebody going into Toys R Us when they were a kid and going, there's 5 million apps and games in here. Go for it. You can play with any single one of them in a different one every single day. Go, 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 go. Like literally we're like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pictures, like cars, this, that, what. We're all over the place. We got so much, but we like, but at the same time we have access to all these things. We have YouTube, we have this, we can learn everything we want to. We can test things, we can play with, I mean, it's we are living in some of the best lives ever. And yet so many of us are so unhappy. And so I think that that's why 2 or 3 years ago, not only just from my own life, but I just could feel the energy, I could feel everything. And I'm like, I have to figure this out. I knew, like, for me, I have to figure this out because I'm one of the I'm one of the happiest people I know. I've always been, kind of one of the, like, whatever, like joyfulest, but I've also been very stressed. I'm also one of the most stressed people I know back then before I was all Tony Robbins stuff. But yeah, I think definitely if we do this again, like you should sit like where I don't have to keep turning back to you.
Yeah.
So this is really good that we're doing this because I think we can learn from, because it's hard for me to be engaged with it when you're sitting like that. And it's probably awkward. You've been watching it, it's probably awkward every time I turn around, right? No. Like you're just too busy looking at your pretty self. So anyhow, so I knew that I wanted to figure it out for me because if I could do it, and I'm someone who's like so emotional, I go through so many emotions, extreme emotions, and I'm very aware of all of my emotions, that if I could figure it out and like live through all those emotions, that I could probably help others do it. And hence this video. So the takeaway from this one in particular is we can all test or try, gratitude as much as possible. I think Big Tony Robbins thing is trade your expectations for gratitude. So let me just give like an example of that. I don't know of one that's I was trying to use you as an example, but
wait, what are you looking for, an example of gratitude?
Well, it's trading expectations for gratitude. So I'll give you one with Natalie because I think that this.
Do it with Bo.
Who?
Bo.
Well, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me do it with you first because so one of the things is, so if I concentrated or if I wanted to, because obviously this happened on camera, that my expectation of Natalie is to, actually no, this isn't a good example because I do think you should be 100% present in all conversations. But let's say, let me stretch this a little bit. So if I said, my expectation and what I'm going to count as me being happy or whatever is that Natalie every single time 100% is engaged and is paying full, attention. And so if I carry that expectation and I base my extreme enjoyment or happiness based on this, then she's gonna do what she's gonna do. I'm gonna keep trying to teach her. She's my daughter. I should, but at the same time, like, getting all work. Like, if I've already given her the lesson, I already pointed it out, or I'm trying to help, or whatever. Like, that's what I should do. But living in that sort of like angst with it. So if I say, what? Well, the gratitude that I have from this is that she gets distracted from her own beauty.
No.
And I am grateful.
This thing has been saying the video is unavailable and the time hasn't been moving. So I've been looking at that.
But Natalie,
I've been looking at you because I can't look at you that well. So I've been looking at you in there.
But Natalie, that doesn't matter. This is obviously just a test. We don't even know if I've never even streamed before. I don't know this application. This is all complicated. So,
So I'm just looking around.
yeah, but when you're looking around, you're not fully engaged.
I don't know how to be engaged. I've been participating. I've been.
Stop. Don't do that to my
I'm
chair.
gonna play closer. I am engaged and participating.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say about gratitude.
Well, I have an example.
That's a bad example because I'm gonna be reaching out. Go ahead.
So, my expectations and trading my expectations for gratitude helped me when I went to my first horse show, and I immediately went into my first jumping class and I immediately fell off at the first jump. So I could have, well, actually, I kind of had a lot of, I guess I had some expectations about, I thought it was going to go well and it was going to be fun and I was going to get a ribbon and it was going to be, wasn't going to hurt. But now I can trade the expectations that I had instead of thinking, oh, that sucks, I went so bad. And I can trade it for the gratitude of that. It taught me a lesson. It's a funny story, but definitely the lesson, and it definitely makes me never go in expecting anything. Every time I go in there, I don't expect anything. I don't even expect to stay on anymore because I traded the expectation that I just had a bad time to the gratitude of that I learned an important lesson.
Yeah. Well, good. And I mean, I think it is important for us to visualize what we want and the outcomes we want and stuff like that. But yeah, having an expectation is probably not good. So an expectation versus
Like
the vision is different. So
I would say like an expectation is an entitlement.
oh, good.
Like if
Yeah.
if the expectation that you go into a hotel is that there's no roaches, when you get there and there's roaches, you might have felt entitled to being in a room without roaches in it. So that's where you get the frustration. But if you pay in a hotel and you're like, well, I hope there's not, and then you see them and you're like, oh, there is. But you're not like, how dare I thought this is terrible. Or if I go in the show ring and I'm hoping that I do well and I do well and I'm excited, but if I don't do well, I'm like, oh, that's all right. But if I felt like I deserved, or if I expected to everything to go great, then when it doesn't go great, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, that's good.
Or even I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be like, I didn't think this was gonna happen. I didn't think this was gonna go that way. But if I was just hoping that it's gonna go well, then I'm like, oh, I still have the rest of the ride for it to go well, and I'm glad it's going however.
Because also everything has a reason. So if somebody went in to something and there was a Netflix show. What was it called? Losers or something? And it was
what is it? Yeah, something like Losers.
Losers, but there was the one, what was she, a skater? She was a skater, and in her story, I don't actually remember. I want to watch it again. It's so good. But she did the best job, and maybe in many cases felt like she actually deserved to win first place. Remember, and she didn't want to stand on the podium for second, and she made a statement there. But of course, she felt pain, and I think that even her not standing on the podium at that time was the best decision because everything is meant for a reason. But she could have taken it several different ways. Again, I do think that she actually, the way that she handled it, because I'm kind of remembering the story, was I understood, and I very much understood, and maybe would even, I don't know, I'd have to watch again, but I was gonna say I maybe even agree with the stand that she took. But in her circumstance was very extreme. But let's say it's not an extreme. Let's say it's Natalie going in, and I mean this is a very good example because this just happened. So our hopes and our desires was that you would place on equestrian team this year very, very well, very high, very, very high, maybe even first, second, or third place, maybe even first, right? We hoped for that. I hoped for that, and there's a long story of why I hoped for that, and it has nothing to do with actually getting first place. It has nothing really to do with that, because I always tell you what, it's about trying your best, having fun, being safe, all these things. Feeling good about it. Right, but everybody should play for the top. I don't think you know, and when I say the top, I don't mean the top. When you rode Bo in the shows, we obviously, this is a pony that we knew was not going to be going for the top. This was a situation where the top for them was not falling off. You know what I mean?
Not get excused out of the ring.
Exactly. So it depends on what your top is. But for our this past year in your equestrian team, I was, and I'm sure you were, hoping for the number one spot for lots of reasons. But if we expected it, I never expected it, demanded it, or felt like you were entitled to it. The whole year was hoping, visualizing, and to be honest with you, I kind of knew that you were, because you know, mommy knows these kinds of things. But had we honestly and 1,000% went into it like, oh no, this is absolutely happening.
Or every time I went into a jumping class and I started to expect to win, and I had to be like, well, what gives? What entitlement do I have to win?
Right.
It had happened a couple times, and I was thinking, oh, this is great. I'm gonna win them all. And then when I didn't, I was surprised. I was like, what? I didn't win. Oh my goodness, what went wrong? What happened? But once I started going in with the energy of that, I should only, like, it's not about that for one, and for two, it's not even gonna happen every single time. I should just do my best, and every time I do my best, I can hope to win. So then when I did win, it was a surprise in another way.
Yeah.
That I should be surprised with whatever happens, but I shouldn't be negatively surprised
grateful with whatever
if I don't get first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good. So I do. I think like there's just a slight difference between visualizing and knowing and stepping into what you want versus thinking that the world or the universe or whoever owes you something and that it should be given to you, because again, like whatever happens for a reason. I think I honestly have always believed if you do what you're supposed to do in your, you know, what that means to you, that you try everything that you can or that you feel is right, and something works out differently than you first initially thought you wanted, it might, you know, again, like God, the universe and stuff might have different and potentially better plans for you. So being just always grateful as much as possible, if not always, and you know, like attracts like. So the more gratitude and high energy and love and good spirit and looking at everything that we can through that's beautiful in the world, I think attracts it, and it just beams your light your light more and more. So yay. So let's see if this recorded, and next time we will actually try this on a more powerful computer that we just got a nice loan for. Look. I can't do that. I can never.
Hey, I did it.
Know where things are. Oh, can I grab it from here? You grab the top. Wait, but I don't want to put my. Oh wait, it goes.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Are you trying to grab it? You're trying to grab the
I don't know. Is it okay?
Oh. I'll grab the bottom. Oh wait.
I can't.
I can't do the bottom. Yeah, look at that.
Okay, now you do it. I gotta hold myself really
Do
still.
what?
Grab the bottom.
I can't. It's the hard. I can't do
Okay,
this.
ready? Now let's clap hands. Bye. So grateful. Okay, now how do we do this?
I don't know.
What does this mean? What are these buttons? Oh my gosh.
Oh, look at me.
Okay, actually, I literally have no idea how to stop it. Broadcast button?